All right, thank you everyone for joining. It's good to have you all. Thank you all. All right. Link for today, absolutely. All right, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're dialing in from around the world. We're super excited to have you on. Okay, this is Camille, and super excited to have you all on, and happy International Day for people of African descent. If you are a guest speaker, if you're a MIPAD, and I see hands are already going up, thank you all. All right, so just for housekeeping, the first thing I'd love for everyone to do is, can you please update your name with the city, your first name and the city in which you're dialing in from? That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. That would be appreciated. If you are a member of the MIPAD team or a guest speaker today, can I please have your hands up so I can move you up to the panel level? Kunle, I see you. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. William, I see you from Dubai. Thank you very much for joining this special day. I see some of the MIPADians who are joining us. Thank you all very much. All right, Kiki, yes. Okay, thank you very much. All right, Dr. Sheila, our keynote. Yes, you are. Again, thank you all for joining. Today is the first International Day for people of African descent. Thank you all for being here with us. Can I ask that everybody please update first name and city in which you're dialing in from? I see Kingston, Jamaica. Nat, thank you for joining. Nat, I'm gonna make you a co-host. If you see any of the UN fellows, please move them up to panelists so we can have a robust conversation. Thank you very much. Josepha from DC, I see you. Thank you very much for joining the conversation. Dr. Walker, looks like we're color coordinated for today. I love it.
Of course.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much. You've been an inspiration since we met. You know, I always said, you know, since I watched your documentary on people of African descent, we became best friends. I hope you hold me in the same position as well. But love your work. Thank you for what you do and what you represent.
Thank you. Glad
Absolutely.
to be here.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you all for joining. I see our team. This is not possible without an amazing team. Kiki, I see you. Thank you so much. Please move the MIPAD honorees, move any of our special guests up to panelists. Can everybody please introduce themselves? Tell us who you are, where you're dialing from around the world. I see Floriana from the Bolivian mission at the UN. Thank you so much. We got an email from you yesterday. We have Canada, Incrin. Very good. Thank you. So Nat, you are a co-host and you are one of the UN fellows. Can you please move up any of the UN fellows who are on here, who are in the guest list? So can everybody, are you able to change? Okay, very good. All right, so if you're dialing in, can we please, William, please move up to panelists. You're dialing in from Dubai. Thank you for being here with us today. Okay. Is everybody able to change your names? Because I don't see people changing. Can you, in the chat, can you just in the chat, just let us know your name, where you're dialing in from. Let's get to know you. This is Camille, and I am the CEO of the most influential people of African descent. We've been working, with the UN since the beginning of the decade in 2015. It's a privilege to do what we do. Thank you all very much. Today is a conversation. It's a celebration of us. So we want to know where you're dialing in from. All right, Kiki, can you help me with the chat? Can you read out some of the people who are here? I see Ingrid from Ottawa, Andre from Chester, Pennsylvania, Jamil, thank you very much for joining this conversation. I appreciate that. From ACLU, thank you for the good work that you're doing over there. I see Prince from South Africa, Fatima from Senegal. This is great. People of African descent from all over the world.
Hi, Camille. I'll be monitoring the chat now. Sorry. Hello, everyone.
And Camille, I really can't see all the panelists because Ikram is a UN fellow also, but I'm not seeing her from where I'm at, so not sure. Just seeing like 7 boxes.
So yeah, so Ingrid, can you please raise your hand? You're logged in below, so in the attendance, so we can move you up as one of the UN fellows, please. All right, and Kiki, thank you. We have some of the people from the different missions, the UN permanent missions. Thank you all. You were all part of, getting the UN to back the UN resolution that supported the establishment of the permanent farm. So thank you all very much. We're going to be having the ambassador, the current ambassador of the African Union to the United States from Washington, D.C. She's going to be joining us for about 30 to 45 minutes. I see Angela from CIDO. Oh my goodness, we have someone from Addis Ababa here. Thank you, Angela. Angela, can you please raise your hand so we can move you up to panelists so you can join us on the stage so we can have a robust conversation? Ingrid, okay, very good. Okay, Angela, we see you. Thank you very much. So do join us on stage, thank you. Again, if you are a MIPADian, if you are a UN fellow, OHCHR fellow, please raise your hands and we will move you up. Jamil, we need to definitely move Jamil up. Thank you very much, Jamil. Thank you for the work that you continue to do. Truly remarkable work. All right. So that's about 10 minutes in. So let's get started. And I will be giving the floor first to Dr. Sheila Walker, who's a cultural anthropologist and a MIPAD global advisor. And like I said, when I watched her documentary at the United Nations about familiar faces and unexpected places, which we're going to watch a preview of, really just took me into a realm of knowledge I did not know. And till today, I really do appreciate you for that. So I'm going to ask that we begin today's conversation in commemoration of the first ever International Day for people of African descent, none other than, without any further ado, the estimable Dr. Sheila Walker. Please welcome. The mic is yours. And I would love to hear from you about your journey, your life experience engaged in the global African diaspora. Where in the world is Africa?
Well, thank you, Camille. And I must say that I'm thrilled to be here. And I also want to tell you how Camille and I met. I was in the lead up to our being let's see, honored with the decade for people of African descent by the United Nations, I kept anticipating this decade. And I also wondered, okay, so what are we going to do? So I'm a cultural anthropologist, and my issue simply is the global African diaspora, with the emphasis on global. I, as an Afro-North American, was told that we had no culture, we had no African heritage, and it was never even mentioned that we might be related to all these other people in the rest of the diaspora. That just didn't exist. I went to Cameroon when I was 19. I lived with a wonderful family in Fumban in the Bamoun Kingdom, a kingdom where the previous king had invented a writing system for his language, wrote books in his writing system, built a palace that has been restored by UNESCO. All that was counter to the stereotype of Africa then and now, unfortunately. So there, I, who was told that I had no African culture, I recognized things. They had a party and they said, well, how come you can dance to our music? Like, because I'm from Jersey. I'm sure that was a little esoteric for them, but that was the beginning of my understanding from these Cameroonians that there was an African diaspora. They let me know that there were other people of African origin in the Americas, and they considered me as part of their extended African family, as they did with these other folks in the Americas. I was studying at an elite white college where I was the colored girl in my class, so I needed to go to Africa for balance. And these Africans who had not gone to anybody's college were the people who educated me about the fact that we're all around the world. And so since then, I've been taking every opportunity to go every place I could and to find out who we are, where we are, what we're doing, and to find all these interesting commonalities that we have. I'm not talking about oppression. I don't talk about oppression. Enough people do that. I talk about triumphs, how we have contributed African culture to the planet. And we have modified African culture in our own ways. Africans met Africans, other Africans throughout the Americas. People from Central Africa met people from West Africa. They wouldn't have done that in Africa. They did that in the Americas, created new cultures, and shared those new cultures with the world. That's who we are. I consider us African diasporans, the old diaspora, the new diaspora. We're the Pan-Africans. And so Camille and I met when I proposed to the person who seemed to be in charge of things related to the decade at the United Nations. I said, well, what are you doing for Black History Month in 2018? Well, what about this film? Oh, great. And so I made a little film. I hadn't been a filmmaker, but I had, in my wanderings in the African diaspora, I just filmed what I saw, what I participated in. And I took a little class in editing and thought, okay, well, let me just put this together. And so I edited a little documentary called Familiar Faces, Unexpected Places, a global African diaspora that was not just about the unexpected places where we are in the Americas, like, for example, Bolivia. But it was about beyond the Americas also. And so on that occasion, Camille was there, we met, and I have been involved with MIPAD ever since, and I'm thrilled to be involved with MIPAD. And I look forward to your reactions to all these places where we are in the world.
I love it. I love it. That is an amazing setup for the global, worldview, this map that, we've been sharing, and it's really been getting, people's attention in terms of where people of African descent exist all over the world, sometimes in unexpected places. So this is the map. This is what it looks like. And, curious to hear from everyone. Just type into the chat, what comes up for you when you see this? What comes up for you when you actually see this? I would love to hear from everyone. A broken family, that's interesting. We are dispersed all over the world, right? Dispersion is okay, but disconnection is not okay. Absolutely, a broken family. Thank you for that. What comes to mind, everybody? I see Garveyites. I see some Garveyites here. We have We have Nate from Jamaica. She's a UN fellow. You're going to get to tell us the history of today from a Jamaican, a Garveyite's perspective, right? We'll love to hear from you. I love to see we're everywhere. Thank you, Rodriguez. A fragmented people. These are some of the comments that are being shared in the chat. Thank you all very much. A middle passage, the beauty of the African diversity. We are connecting again. Andre, Henry, thank you so much for that. That is the reason why we're here. One global African family. Absolutely, we're connecting again. Potential for great influence. Okay, one Africa, one nation. Kiki says beautiful. Absolutely, it is beautiful to see us present all over the world, sometimes in unexpected places. Survival. I love that. I love that. Okay, so we're about to, the studio is about to, share with us, this documentary that Dr. Sheila actually, put together. And all right, so let me share the sound of that and we will begin that documentary. Can everybody please hear it? Can you all hear it?
More volume.
Okay, volume.
Volume.
What about now?
It's still low.
All right, hold on. Let's get that right. That's 100%. Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right. Familiar faces in unexpected places. All right, can you hear it?
No, Camille, it's still low.
Okay. Is it any better now?
No, not yet.
All over the world, sometimes in unexpected places.
Okay, increase your volume because I can hear it. Can everybody hear it, please?
6.5 million people came to the Americas. 5.5 million.
So far the comments are saying no.
Okay.
Laid the foundations of the new society.
Share with sound. Okay, let's try that. And
Camille, it's still not working.
Is global. People of African origin are all over the world, sometimes in unexpected places. Between 1500 and 1800, 6.5 million people came to the Americas. 5.5 million came from Africa as victims of the commerce in African lives called the transatlantic slave trade. So for the first 3 centuries of the modern Americas, most of the people who laid the foundations of the new societies were of African origin. Some were enslaved for their knowledge and skills, providing a transfer of technology from Africa to the Americas. In Ecuador, African descendants pan gold, from which they make beautiful creations, using technologies inherited from ancestors from the Gold Coast.
Hi, Camille.
Enslaved for their expertise in gold mining. Africans brought with them the seeds and skills.
yes.
So we have an advice here that says when you share, you have to click a button to share audio, start over. When you see a button in the bottom left-hand corner, it says share video audio, click that.
Right, so it says share sound. So we have that.
Okay.
It's just low. I can hear it, but it's just low.
Very low.
All right, let's start it again. And it is, the volume is there, but it is a bit low, very low. So if you can just pay attention to it.
in unexpected places. Between 1500 and 1800, 6.5 million people came to the Americas. 5.5 million came from Africa as victims of the commerce in African lives called the transatlantic slave trade. So for the first 3 centuries of the modern Americas, most of the people who laid the foundations of the new societies were of African origin. Some were enslaved for their knowledge and skills, providing a transfer of technology from Africa to the Americas. In Ecuador, African descendants pan gold, from which they make beautiful creations, using technologies inherited from ancestors from the Gold Coast, now Ghana, enslaved for their expertise in gold mining. Africans brought with them the seeds and skills to grow rice that had been domesticated more than 3,000 years earlier in Mali. U.S. plantation owners asked slave ship captains to bring them rice Negroes. Many enslaved Africans sought to regain their freedom, some by escaping to inaccessible places. In Suriname, they fled up rivers into the dense rainforest and established free Maroon communities. Maroon descendants in Colombia affirm their heroic past and continue an African lifestyle. Jamaica's national heroine, freedom-seeking Maroon leader Queen Nanny, is featured on a bill that people call a nanny. And in the United States, Harriet Tubman, who led African Americans from Southern slavery to Northern freedom, will be the first woman featured on U.S. currency. Some are already calling the bill a Tubman. Africans recreated their cultures in the Americas. Royal traditions from the Central African Congo Kingdom are still celebrated in Brazil and Panama. Also in Brazil, descendants of Yoruba people from Nigeria and Benin in West Africa celebrate their orishas, spiritual beings whose choreographies represent forces of nature. More than 200 million people of African descent now live throughout the Americas, continuing traditions that reflect their African origins. But the African diaspora is not just in the Atlantic world. In Turkey, descendants of Africans enslaved across the Mediterranean Sea during the Ottoman Empire affirmed their identity as Afro-Turks. And across the globe, from the Atlantic world, it is in India that the African diaspora is most significant. Thousands of Afro-Indians known as CIDOs, whose ancestors came from East Africa, have created rich cultural forms in several parts of the country. CIDOs built monumental constructions, such as the nationally landmarked fort on Janjira Island, from which they controlled maritime traffic on the Konkani coast for centuries. In Gujarat, CIDOs built a shrine for their African saint, the Abyssinian Baba Gor, who is also worshipped by other Indians. CIDOs celebrated when Barack Obama became president of the United States, some proudly characterizing him as an American CIDO. The African musical bow that CIDOs play for Baba Gor and call by the Bantu name Malunga is the faraway twin of the Afro-Brazilian berimbau. Linked by common origins and cultural continuities, people of African descent, scattered around the world, now form a global community.
All right. Not bad at all. How does he make you feel, Dr. Walker, every time you watch that? You're on mute.
I'm always thrilled to see it. I'm amazed that it came together. I'm pleased in that I didn't really know very much about editing, but and I didn't know how much wealth I had in my hard drives. That was part of it. I took a little 12-hour class, and that was my homework project. So I love it. I also love to see all those people around the world. I love to relive those experiences. Someone in the chat asked, where in Turkey? Izmir. In Izmir, every year until COVID, the Afro-Turks were organizing a calf feast that was a recreation of an early 20th century Afro-Turkish tradition in the town of Izmir on the coast. Where in India, the three concentrations of Afro-Indians are in the states of Gujarat in the northwest, in the state of Karnataka in the southwest, and on the other side of India, the other side away from Africa, in the state of that is now Telangana, in the town of, or the city, huge city of Hyderabad. There are major concentrations of Afro-Indians, and all of those places, they have different African histories. They're not all from the same parts of Africa. Some are from the Horn, some are from Southeast Africa. In India, they had different experiences, they speak different languages, but they all came together at a conference in 2006, where I was also, and where I got to know that other side of the African diaspora, not related to the Atlantic world. It's good that that projection wasn't perfect, because I hope that will make you want to see a more perfect projection of that, which you can see. MIPAD put that on YouTube. It's also on my YouTube channel that's called, surprisingly enough, Afro Diaspora Global, Sheila S. Walker, where you will see that short about the global African diaspora and lots more about various phenomena having to do with the African diaspora. One of the things you may have noticed, I must have made that in 2017. That was before the politics of the United States flipped. And it's wonderful that they have flipped back. The detail was that I talked about the Harriet Tubman $20 bill. Well, that has been on hold for a certain period. I don't need to go into details. It seems that that's back on track, and that we will indeed follow Jamaica in having a maroon leader on a significant bill of the US dollars.
All right, so let's get some reaction from the audience. Those of you who have had an opportunity to watch that video of familiar faces and unexpected places. Can you type into the chat some of the countries you saw in there that was surprising for you? If you have any questions for Dr. Walker, this is the time to definitely type it into the chat. So let's talk about it. So where in the world is Africa? What did you notice? I saw Bolivia, and we have someone from the Bolivian permanent mission to the UN who's here. Thank you for joining us. What other countries did you all notice? Can you type it into the chat? Let's have a conversation about it.
And let me clarify two things that are in the chat. The feast in Izmir in Turkey is calf, C-A-L-F, a small cow, because in the early 20th century, people would get together and pool their money to buy a cow or a calf to share during this feast. The places in India, Karnataka, Karnataka, it's phonetic, K-A-R-N-A-T-A-K-A, Gujarat, G-U-J-A-R-A-T. Telangana, they're all phonetic, T-E-L-A-N-J-A-N-A, G-A-N-A, and Hyderabad, H-Y-A-D-E-R-A-B-A-D-E. I guess I can't spell so fast in talking.
So I see commentary here about Turkey. Afro-Turks is a new discovery for me. Can you tell us a little more? And India. So those are some of the things that are coming up for people.
Yeah, I know those are the ones that are most surprising. The Afro-Turks have been organized since, I think, about 2006, when a man named Mustafa Olpak decided that he needed to create an organization. And I don't know its title, but there is a book about him written in Turkish, of course, but it's also been translated into French. Olpak, O-L-P-A-K is his last name, Mustafa, M-U-S-T-A-F-A. So yeah, well, everybody doesn't know about them, but there was a conference in 2006 in Goa in India. And for me, that was my big eye opener, okay? Because at that conference, there were Afro-Indians from the various places where they are in India, and they didn't know each other until that conference. So they and I were making discoveries all at the same time. Because they live far. India's huge. They live far from each other. I took a train from Karnataka to, from Hyderabad to Karnataka. It took 15 hours on the train. And so these Afro-Indians aren't just going to get on a train and go that far to find other Afro-Indians with whom they will not speak the same language. But now they have a common growing consciousness of the fact they're all there. They all have distinct traditions. And fascinatingly enough, there's a Ghanaian, Pashington Obeng, who wrote a book about the Afro-Indians in Karnataka. I thought that was great. You know, Africans studying other members of the African diaspora. Argentina, yeah. Yeah, there are not a lot of them, but there's a book called The Afro-Argentinians in the 19th Century by George Reed Andrews. And it talks about how important Afro-Argentinians were in the 19th century. In Buenos Aires, they were almost half of the population. If anybody knows anything about Argentina, it probably has to do with their national dance. And what is their national dance called? Tango. That is a Bantu word. The dance has been transformed by essentially the fact that beginning in the 1880s, the Argentinian government wanted to be a modern Western government. So what did they do? They needed to whiten the country. And so they invited, with all kinds of advantages for settling, people from Europe to just come and whiten the country. And so that has happened. And there's been what I consider a demographic drowning of Afro-Argentinians, but they are still there. They are in various places in the country. And November 8th is the day of the Afro-Argentinian woman. So they are organized. They have various organizations in different places. And so they managed to get themselves recognized by the government and have a day in their honor. That's amazing. When there was what one could consider a real effort at genocide in the 19th century, so that Argentina could be white, which it obviously wasn't. Consider the name of the current Pope. He is Argentinian. He has an Italian name. What's that the result of? That encouraged, paid for migration that began in the 1880s to whiten Argentina.
I mean, you say something very interesting. Another thing about, this, dispersion of our people around the world, you just said international days and international months. Another thing that's interesting about this is Black History Month is actually different in countries around the world. Mm-hmm. Right. So for everyone who's just another, audience participation, can you type in your Black History Month in your country? Black History Month in your country. I see someone here also mentioned Afro-Iranians. That's another one that was quite interesting for me as well. What about Africans in Palestine and in Jordan, right? Yes.
Detail. Yeah, I haven't been every place. I still have places to go, and I'm anxious to go to all those places, of course. The first documented revolt of enslaved Africans in the world was in Iraq, in Basra, in the south, in which East Africans had been imported to that area to drain swamps to make it a viable farmland. And in the 9th century, these Africans, enslaved Africans, referred to as Zanj, a name that still exists, a word that still exists as a terminology for African descendants. In Turkey, for example, Afro-Turks could be called Zanji. That's one of the words that it's used for them. But these Africans in southern Iraq revolted, created an independent, essentially what in the Americas we would call a maroon community, but this was very successful. It lasted for 15 years. They had a capital, Al-Muqtara. They established their own money, and then essentially they were absorbed into the reigning caliphate. But Iraq. And, when the United States invaded Iraq, there were news articles in the New York Times, Washington Post about Afro-Iraqis. So whenever we invade somebody, then we find out, oh, guess who else lives there? People who look like an unreasonably large part of the invading population, given the unrepresentative number of African descendants who are in the U.S. military, because it's a good job. And there are films about these other places, about Iran. I saw a film about Afro-Bedouins called something like the Lesson. So the title of the film doesn't tell you who it's about, but that's the deal. Wherever we go, there we are. Where in the world is Africa? So we have more research to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So just putting out a poll out there, and thank you to all the respondents as well, talking about the different Black History Months around the world, Brazil, the UK, and I put out a poll about the largest populations of people of African descent, and at least 72% of this group actually got it right. So it is Brazil. But also in the comments, I see that, William, who is based in Dubai, talks about lots of people of African descent in the Arab world. So I will give William, please do join the conversation. Super excited about the work that William is doing in the UAE, the UAE Africa Network. Can you tell us a little more about what that presence is like for people of African descent in the Middle East, right? In Yemen, in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, Afro-Emiratis, right?
Yes.
Can you talk to us about that? Good to have you, William.
Yes, thank you. First of all, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. Dr. Walker, I love everything that you're doing, and we would be honored to have you here in Dubai for the All Africa Festival that we're putting together. Camille, I think you know a little bit about it. This is happening 21st to the 23rd, and we are inviting all people of African descent into the UAE, and we are being sponsored basically by the government of Dubai. Dubai is open to all of us. Set up your business, change locations, do whatever it is that you want to do to feel comfortable here in the UAE. So this is all call to everyone, and especially you, because we need to tell these stories. We need to hear about the history and about the richness of our culture. And we have a platform here, which I think is absolutely fantastic. One of the stories that I want to tell is basically how music originated, and the music that we're all enjoying today, and where it actually has come from. And to have someone like Common or Mos Def tell that story on stage, I think would be mind blowing. At the same time, where we have someone else, take it from there. Again, so as far as to the topic regarding the Middle East, I think I was most surprised. I've traveled all over the Middle East, and I was most surprised by meeting Palestinians, Black Palestinians, African Palestinians. That really blew my mind. I never thought for a million years that that you would find them in Palestine. So Jordan, also Iraq, Basra probably has the highest concentrations of Africans, Arab Africans of African descent. Also Kuwait, we talked about the Bedouins. There are a lot of Black Kuwaitis, Black Saudis, Black Yemenis, Black Omanis. A lot of them came from Tanzania. What's new to me is Black Iranians, but that's another conversation, because there's all kinds of us there in Iran as well. I wasn't surprised about India. I knew about India. As a matter of fact, there is quite a few Africans in Pakistan as well. Not only India, it's also Pakistan. So I think someone said in the comments, we're all over the place. And to be honest with you, that's absolutely true. I think our issue is, how do we reconnect? We see you see a Black Arab and you do the nod, but the connection is not there because culturally we don't understand each other. That's the unfortunate part, but that's changing.
Well, that's why we do what we do, William. That's why you do what you do. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So before I let you off, I want to ask, so what is it like, living and working in the UAE? I mean, talk about what the race relation is like. How much effort have they actually put in to make you feel at home as a person of African descent living in the UAE, living in Dubai?
So, to be honest with you, I'm retired U.S. Air Force. I spent 21 years in the U.S. Air Force. I've traveled the world. I've been everywhere in the world. Dubai, UAE is probably the most inclusive environment that I have ever lived in.
Wow.
Real talk. When I walk anywhere in this city, I get respect. People don't look at you like you don't belong. It's a very transient city, but also full of expats. I mean, 80% of everybody here is an expat. So, I mean, if anybody had a right to look down on you, it'd probably be the Emiratis, but they're not that way. They're very welcoming. From a business perspective, anybody across any of the 54, 55 African countries can walk into this country and set up their business in 3 weeks or less. They don't care where you come from. Matter of fact, they encourage that. Race relations, we don't have issues with race. There's more of a class kind of a thing. There's a class hierarchy that's there. But in terms of racial issues, I don't see a lot of it. I've never experienced it. And I don't hear about a lot of it. What is happening here, and I don't use this loosely. There's a real renaissance taking place in this city. A lot of people are coming together from the UK, Blacks, British, Black, African Americans, Africans from the continent, Africans that are coming from the US or from Australia, and we're coming together. And this is probably the first time, I've spent time in London, I've lived in New York City, lived in LA, I've lived different places. First time that I see Africans coming together as a community and doing so much here, from films to writing books. We just had a celebration where 22 of us got together and wrote about our experiences being Black and African in the UAE, our experience, what we went through, how we set up our business. It's a good place.
It is remarkable, and again, it's something that we need to amplify around the world. Whatever they're doing, we need to check in to what are they doing to create that, because we need that in a lot of the diaspora countries. So this has been great. I mean, it's good to get perspective from around the world. We have Jamaica is here. I can see continental Africans. I can also see diaspora Africans, those in Canada, and we also have the ambassador from the African Union to the US, who is Her Excellency's with us. So it's great to have this group of people for us to have this conversation on this day when we're celebrating people of African descent all around the world. So if everybody can just support us and give Dr. Sheila Walker just a cheer for just an amazing work that she's doing. Thank you for opening the conversation for us, Dr. Walker. Before we move on to the ambassador, just wanted to also acknowledge a few of the other MIPADians. Again, MIPAD is a global network, and our community is us, unifying all people of African descent from all over the world, sometimes in unexpected places. And it's super important for us to not only know each other exists, but begin to create real connections, right? Begin to do business together, begin to connect, to share culture, right? And wherever you are. So this is just the beginning. We have our most influential 100 recognition week, which is coming up during the UN General Assembly. It's going to be the largest gathering of people of African descent from all over the world, from every corner of the world. So I also acknowledge the Bolivian Permanent Mission, thank you for being here. The African Union CIDO office, Angela, thank you for joining. I will appreciate if everyone who's on stage, Natalia, Kingston, if you can all just put on your cameras. Let's just get a picture just to symbolize, to show, where we are all from around the world. So all cameras on would be appreciated. Inkrin, Lulu, all of you, can we just get our cameras on and just take a quick, international day, picture. All right, I see Nat is fixing her hair. How is Jamaica? All right, Dr. Lulu, good to see you. Ankrin from Canada, all the UN fellows, thank you all for, definitely joining, this conversation. I'm gonna ask that, I'm gonna do a quick countdown. Kiki, you there? Everybody looking at your camera. All right, here you go. 1, 2, and 3. All right. All right, thank you all very much. All right, so let's get to it. Let me introduce the ambassador, Her Excellency from DC. She's joining us from Washington, DC, from the Africa House in DC, from the African Union Permanent Mission in Washington, DC. Ambassador, it's great to see you. Ambassador Helder, thank you so much. I give you the floor. I mean, talk to us on this remarkable day. It's incredible to have you on with us. What do you want to say to the global African diaspora?
No, thank you very much. Camille Alfoobi, the CEO of most influential people of African descent, MIPAD. Dr. Sheila Walker, cultural anthropologist and the MIPAD global advisor. Dr. S. Ama Ray, Department of African American Studies, University of California. Dear African fellows, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, afternoon, good evening, all over. We are all over. It's warm greetings to you all. I would like to start by thanking Camille Alfoobi, CEO, most influential people of African descent, for inviting me to address this gathering. It is my pleasure to join you in celebrating the first ever International Day for people of African descent, as declared by the United Nations. My remarks, my remarks will focus on the African diaspora, known as the 6th region. By declaring the diaspora as the 6th region of Africa, the African Union indicated that the diaspora, on the same footing as Africans who live in the various regions of the continent, are at the same footing as Africans who live in the various regions of the continent and the regions, that is Central, East, North, South, and West. Indeed, the African Union's Constitutive Act, as the fundamental law for the Union, recognized that the requirement of development must be premised on active and total mobilization of all relevant forces in society. The act is specific that the Union shall be people-centered, people-driven, and people-oriented, based on a partnership between governments and all segments of civil society. This vision implies a need to go beyond governments, representatives of states, to incorporate the energies of African people, their different walks of life. Therefore, Africa cannot be whole or achieve its development and the political objective except through a process that enables the integration of its diaspora and permits wholesome and active participation in the process of African reconstruction and development. In July 2005, the Assembly of African Heads of States and the governments adopted the definition of the diaspora as follows. The African diaspora consists of people of African origin living outside the continent, irrespective of their citizenship and nationality, and who are willing to contribute to the development of the continent and the building of the African Union. That's the definition of the diaspora, African diaspora. It includes all of us, all over the world, wherever we are living, whatever, that we have as our statuses. We belong to those countries, but we know we have a base, which is Africa today. And as we know the base, it's talking of us coming together, calling the 5 regions which are on the ground, which are in the continent, as the 5 regions, including the 6th region of the people, all of them who are in the global arena, and all those areas that you were talking about, which you were saying, I didn't expect. I heard my brother say he didn't expect Africans living in Pakistan, the Africans living in India, in all those places. That's all I heard at that time. But I know all of us, we have had others who have mentioned other areas where our people are. So it encompasses all of us, the diasporans, wherever we are living, whatever rights that we have in terms of status of living there, homes and whatever, but we have a base, which is Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to recall the Global African Diaspora Summit with the theme towards the realization of a united and integrated Africa and its diaspora. That was organized by the African Union Commission with the support of the Republic of South Africa in Johannesburg, South Africa, from 23 to 25 May, that is in 2012. The summit, which was attended by heads of state of the African Union, the Caribbean, South and Latin America, and included 300 participants from 64 countries committed to the declaration of the Global African Diaspora Summit 2012, which serves as the foundational document on the African diaspora. The declaration is divided into 4 basic elements. First, a political declaration which embodies the vision, purpose, and objectives of the integration of Africa and its diaspora. Integration. Second, a program of action that highlights areas of cooperation programs required to support the implementation agenda. Third, an implementation and a follow-up mechanism embodying the instruments that will be employed to facilitate implementations of the outcomes. The fourth, 5 legal projects that give immediate, urgent, and a practical meaning to the declaration. Then the declaration is the most comprehensive guidance on political, economic, and social cooperation between Africa and its diaspora. If you need a copy of the declaration, please reach out to my office to get that copy. Ladies and gentlemen, let me recall the AU Agenda 2063, the blueprint and the master plan for transforming Africa into the global powerhouse of the future. The agenda aspires by 2063 to have dynamic and mutual beneficial links with her diaspora. I will repeat that. By 2063, to have a dynamic and a mutually beneficial links with her diaspora, that is Africa. And the 6th, in Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, values, and ethics, which includes members of the diaspora. As I end my remarks, allow me also to highlight one important issue that Africa is focusing on. the youth. As you are aware, the youth population is central to Africa's continuous development. In this respect, the African diaspora youth engagement is paramount. The African Union has initiated ways to engage this population to play a meaningful role. Here are a few of these ways. The establishment of a Youth Consultative Council and the appointment of an AU Youth Envoy in 2018. African Plan of Action for Youth Empowerment, 2019 to 2023, ongoing. This serves as a framework for driving youth development. A 1 million youth by 2021 initiative. An initiative the African Union Commission's chairperson, H.E. Musa Faki Muhammad, which provides direct opportunities for African youth in the areas of education, employment, entrepreneurship, engagement, and health and well-being. The establishment of a youth fund and the Women's Leadership Fund launched in 2020. So these have been developments to better shape ourselves. And with that, the 6th region is also included. And we should work on ways where we can have active participation of youth from the diaspora with the youths who are on the continent. All these initiatives are meant to enhance Africa's spirit of Ubuntu and the Pan-Africanism, where every member of our society contributes and shares the process. Again, this is why I am calling all people of African descent, particularly the youth around the world, to come and join your counterparts and be part of this process of building the Africa we want. The AU mission to the USA with the Citizens and Diaspora Directorate, CIDO, and the entire AU Commission is thrilled to participate in this historical commemoration of the International Day of the People of African Descent. Thank you for your attention.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for that remark. Thank you so much. One of the things that really stood out for me in your remarks is the collaboration between, you know, young people of African descent in the continent and those in the diaspora, you know, getting us working together for the glory of Africa. Yes, yes, take that call. That is Africa calling. Absolutely. You know, so Ambassador, I mean, that is such an important message, and truly, you know, appreciate what your role represents and the work that you have ahead of you. You're not alone. And we, you know, continue to say we're here, you know, to support you in delivering on the mandate, you know, of your office. And we also have from CIDO, from the African Union, Angela, I'm going to give you the floor from Addis Ababa, from headquarters. You know, just to share with us, I mean, you are one of us, and you represent us in headquarters at the African Union. So this is a very important day, a day for you to connect with other people from all over the world. So tell us, from Addis Ababa, what is your message to people of African descent from all over the world, please?
Warmest greetings and congratulations to everyone here and every other person under the power of our voices, under the sound of our voices. A warm welcome to you all, and I join together in celebration with us all for such a great feat. I would acknowledge the presence once again of Ambassador Hilda, who graciously invited CIDO to be part of this special occasion. So riding on the wings of Ambassador, since so far as we are concerned, when Her Excellency speaks, that ends it. However, I would as well add my voice to it, that CIDO is very happy to engage with you all, and we look forward to further strengthening of the kind of collaboration that we have to make Africa a better place for us all. Thank you.
Angela, tell us, what does CIDO stand for? What is your office? Just so people understand what that office represent at the African Union.
CIDO is the Citizens and Diaspora Organizations Directorate. So the C is for citizens, and then the D is for diaspora organizations. So CIDO is divided into, it's a directorate that responds to the office of the Deputy Chairperson of the African Union. And we are having two divisions. First is the Civil Society Division, which responds to the queries, plans, and programs of civil society actors within the continent of Africa, and then sees how best to streamline these activities into the programs and plans of the African Union. Then, on the other hand, the diaspora division, to which I belong, what we do is engage diaspora or the African diaspora, like she said earlier in her statement, anyone of African descent who lives outside of the continent, who, irrespective of their citizenship or naturalization, is willing to engage with the continent and with the union. We as well navigate the activities of diasporas and then streamline it into the programs and plans of the union, ensuring that capacities are built from the member state level for them to be able to actually understand the workings or the essence or the import of diaspora activities and contributions to the various member states. Then as well, we see to it during our regional consultative meetings that the diaspora are well organized, that we would be able to actually tap into their efforts and then bring it in to the policies and plans of the union. So basically, this is what we do, and CIDO has divided the diaspora or the world into three based on our definition. We have Americas and Caribbean as one region, then we have Europe as another desk, and then we have the third, which is Middle East, Asia, and Oceania. So this is how we work into ensuring that the 5 legacy projects, which Ambassador mentioned, is what we do. We make sure we attain these, and we see to it that we streamline all diaspora activities into the social and economic development of the continent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela. That is great introduction of CIDO. And also, as we carry on the conversation today, I'm going to share a map of, the world that gives you a view of who we are. And I'm going to dovetail into introducing the representative from the Bolivian Permanent Mission at the United Nations in New York. Thank you so much for joining us. I would love to get some commentaries from you. Now we got a message from your office to include Afro-Bolivians in this global worldview of people of African descent from around the world. I thought it was very interesting where we received your message. This is an illustration just to show people that we are present all over the world, sometimes in unexpected places. If you can take a minute or two to tell us about Afro-Bolivians. Afro-Bolivians. Thank you for the work that you do. Theo, Rena?
Yes.
Yes, thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you.
Kindly introduce yourself.
Yes, can you hear me well, first of all? Yes?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I would like to thank you, the MIPAD organization, for this meeting. We sent a letter for you yesterday, just because for us it's very, very important to visualize and to congratulate, and we are very proud of the Bolivian African descendants. We have a large community, especially in the region of La Paz, and they are more than 25,000 African descendants. And for us, it's not possible to understand Bolivia if we don't understand our common history and our diversity in our country. For that, we really appreciate that you took time to update the map, because we are going to have that flag in the UN and in every place that we can to celebrate and to visualize our African descendants community they are recognized, by the way, in our constitution that was approved in 2009. So again, Dr. Walker, thank you for your presentation. I saw your video and I really enjoy it. And the part obviously that I most enjoy that you take some parts or you just play some images from Bolivia. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. Please continue to do that.
And it's incredible, right? People of African descent in Bolivia, in Brazil, right? In Argentina, in South America, even Central America. It's remarkable just to get to meet, you know, people of African descent from all over the world. And what we do at MIPAD as an organization is beginning, you know, to bring together, you know, this dispersed people from all over the world and starting to create some meaningful connections. What I love every time we do what we do is, you know, when we talk about people of African descent, you know, not only from the lenses of victimhood, you know, for when we talk about reparation and slavery and all of those things, which are good, but, you know, for a change, at least for today, for us to focus on our contributions, you know, in different countries around the world. So thank you so much, Bolivia, for being with us. So let us move now to having a conversation, you know, with MIPADians, with MIPADians and the UN fellows. So I want to take the conversation from Bolivia to Jamaica, and I'm going to hand over the mic to not other than Naticia, and she is a UN fellow. So every year since the decade started, the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights organizes a fellowship program, and she is one of the fellows. And every year, all the fellows who go through that program are automatically recognized at MIPAD. So I wanted, you know, Nat to just, you know, talk to us and speak to us about the importance of the day from where you sit in Jamaica. Over to you, Nat.
Thank you so much. I must say greetings all. You know, spot on discussion. Some of what I want to share today follows from Dr. Sheila Walker's brief introduction about how we see ourselves. So let me I put together a little something because I wanted to kind of walk us through how I see us as a people. And I hope we can all, you know, as we would say in Jamaica, log on to my thoughts. So first, you know, I want to say thank you to the organizers, greetings, comrades in the movement towards full recognition, justice, and development for our people of African descent and our people in the diaspora. As was said, my name is Naticia Bohart-Singh. I'm a human rights lawyer, activist advocate, reparator justice consultant, and research fellow currently operating from the CARICOM Initiative Center for Reparation Research. Happy International Day for our people of African descent. And I want to extend thanks to the organizer, as said, for the important discussion. It is indeed a pivotal moment in history, which presents an opportunity for us to recognize each other and our contribution to the world. I too believe that in this coming together, we get the chance to know, celebrate, and see each other and see ourselves beyond the viewpoint of just struggle, resistance, victimhood, and oppression. As one of the United Nations Human Rights Fellow for people of African descent and a proud member of the global class list of 100 most influential people of African descent under the age 40, and a descendant of enslaved Africans brought to these Caribbean islands, I believe I hold the responsibility of representing my generation with the greatest honor and consideration of always, without failing, using all my platforms to speak truth to power. Now, the decade's responsibility has added to my duties to extend my voice, my service, my commitment to fulfilling this leg of the relay towards full recognition, justice, and development of our people. And I make bold to say, as people of African descent, the duty extends to us all. Today, the 31st of August 2021, we celebrate this day. But as a student of history and culture, it would be remiss of me to not highlight the ancestral alignment that have brought us to this space. This day also coincides with the first International Convention of the Negro Peoples of the World, August 31st, 1920. And as a result of the discussions led by one of Jamaica's national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Messiah Garvey, the Declaration of the Rights of the Negro People of the World was promulgated. I want to applaud the UN for finally proclaiming 31st August as this International Day for our people in order to further promote greater recognition and respect for the diverse heritage, culture, and contribution of our people, and to promote respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. I take this opportunity to shed the light on the inextricably link between our past and our present as one Africa, one nation, and highlight the many known vibrant cultures of the African continent and African diaspora around the world, acknowledging our culture to be a rich source of the world's heritage. It is seen that us as people of African descent and our descendants have made outstanding contributions to the development of societies and nations throughout history and continue to do so today. However, there have been very little recognition and appreciation to our heritage and culture due to the overshadowing by what we know as racial discrimination, manifesting largely in the phenomena of a group defamation concept. But I believe, as Marcus Garvey said, a people without a knowledge of their past history is like a tree without roots. And so today, my input in this conversation is to help us to understand a little further how our claims for reparatory justice and advocacy towards cultural preservation and anti-defamation of our heritage would be fully understood from our origin. So join me as I quickly sankofa from classical Africa, the early African development, African scientific and technological developments, the main West African states in the mid-15th century. Yes, I'm going way back. Before what we consider in the reparatory justice struggle, the Ma'afa. We go back to Ghana, Mali, Songhai, and then we take it to the strides we make in surpassing what we deemed as the interruption of the transatlantic slave trade in Africans. I ground my short input in the work and research of my mentor and social historian, reparatory justice and human rights expert, Professor Vereen Shepherd, which enlightens us that an important feature of the ancient civilization of West Africa was that its people, its goods, religion, and culture moved all over the world, was valuable and provided a valuable exchange in ideas, technology, and cultures between Asia, Europe, the Mediterranean, and West Africa, particularly in the areas of agriculture, industrial production, and trade. This exchange of knowledge shows the extent to which world culture interacted with each other. We see in recent years that many different scholars have also looked at the importance of Africa's cultural features and global connections before the transatlantic slave trade in enslaved Africans. They, with cogent evidence, are able to participate in what we call the decolonization of the minds and to criticize the European scholars who have over decades denied the positive influence and cultural impact of Africa on world development and who used unfounded ideas of racial superiority to explain why Europe culture was more advanced than African culture. I say, as scholar activists, fellows across the region, we recognize the power in what we deem as iconographic decolonization, remembering, which allows for some myths to be easily deconstructed and some mysteries to be easily demystified. I talk about the enhanced roles of our forebearers. We see where Ghana, Mali, as was Songhai, these powerful medieval states in Africa were at the top of their game in making our presence felt, even as what we were deemed to be people who were not civilized. We know that's not true. We know in Africa, before the Western Europeans made contact, we had strong governments and prosperous economy. Ghana was known as a land of gold. In 1332, Mali was considered to be a wealthy commercial dynamic state with a reputation toward Europe and the Mediterranean for culture and learning. So as we battle the memories of atrocities, we understand, in the words of Bob Marley, our history, our Black history, could not be wiped away so easily. I take this opportunity to say, it is a fact that the experiences of our ancestor in chattel slavery was the most extreme form of exploitation that any race of people have ever undergone. But we, their descendants, survived. It is a fact also that through the struggle, our forebears protected their humanity and identity, and over time, redefined themselves as new, vibrant cultural forces. I close by saying, yes, today, while we celebrate the International Day for People of African Descent, we mark and remember the victims of the transatlantic slave trade in Africans, which forcefully removed between 10 to 20 million of our African brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers. But through our resilience, we guaranteed that it was not the end of continental Africa and her diaspora, because we, the people of African descent, as geographically scattered as we may be, are making strides among the odds, leading homes, communities, institutions, becoming professionals, Grammy winners, world liberators, presidents, prime ministers, vice presidents, and most influential people of African descent. We speak truth to power today, knowing fully, as Marcus Garvey said, if we as a people realize the greatness from which we came, we would be less likely to disrespect ourselves. And I say, let alone allow others to continue to disrespect and defame us. Thank you.
Whoo! All right. I mean, if you got goosebumps, yes, it is okay. That was powerful, and we're gonna let that settle. Let that settle. That was our ancestors channeled through you there. That was very powerful. So ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm happy to show this is a MIPADian. These are the frontliners of the movement, not just the moment, but the movement. And live from Jamaica, it was remarkable to have you on. Thank you so much for that. That was beautiful. Dr. Walker, any goosebumps over there? What are you reporting back there in DC?
Lots of goosebumps. Wow. And I'm thrilled that Naticia gave us the Garvey origins of this date, because I think everybody doesn't know the Garvey origins of this date, that Garvey created the major mass movement of Black folks in the world in the early part of the 20th century. And so we shouldn't forget that. And why Costa Rica? So this was an initiative of Costa Rica. Well, Costa Rica is the first country in the Americas with an Afro-descendant vice president. I'm glad we've got Kamala, but we need to, Epsie Campbell was first. And Costa Rica is the place where the Garvey House was maintained. There was a building in Limones, Puerto Limones, on the Caribbean coast. There she is. There's Vice President Epsie. And so the Garvey House was preserved in Limones, where Garvey spoke. I got to speak there too. That gave me goosebumps too. So we need to know, what did Bob Marley said? You got to know your history, right? And Bob Marley also said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. He sang it. We got it. That came from Garvey, who said others can take the shackles off your body. You've got to take the shackles off your mind. Jimmy Cliff said that too. They took the shackles off your body and they put the shackles on your mind. That's what Jimmy Cliff said. So Jamaica's given us a lot, and we need to acknowledge it. And we also need to, be penetrated by that message. It's up to us to free our minds. And today is certainly a good example.
You couldn't have said it better. You couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much. Really powerful. Now, as we begin to wrap up the conversations, I'd love for everyone to once again just share, what is coming up for you. Just share in the chat what is coming up for. What are you going to do today in support of celebrating people of African descent from around the world? One thing that is easy that we can all do is to share this today's celebration on social media. We can all definitely share that. I'd love for everyone who's on to just type into the chat, what is the one thing that you will do, today? Will you share the link of the video we just shown, just to share the knowledge of the global African diaspora with more of us? That's a simple contribution to this moment, which is today, and in support of the movement. We'll love to hear. Already shared. William says, I've already shared it. Someone says, I love that. We will support. I've shared it. Learning from others. Absolutely. This is inspiring. It is inspiring. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. As we begin to wrap up, if you do have any questions, please do share. I do have a video that I would, okay, let's see if that works. Can everybody hear the volume?
No, Camille.
Okay. All right, so I will let's see what we can do in terms of the volume there. But again, this is a video that just gives you an intel about who we are at MIPAD. While we're trying to do that, can I ask Inkran, who's also one of the OHCHR fellows, who's also a MIPAD class of 2021, just to share. She's from based out of Canada right now. Over to you, my dear. Go ahead. Let's hear from you. Inkran, the mic is yours. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. As I was saying, it's hard to follow Natisha. I don't know if I will have the power in me to have the message of Garveyite. So my name is Ikram Warsame. I'm a Somali Canadian, or as I say, I'm a Somali person who live in Canada, and I'm a Canadian citizen now. So if I briefly say a little bit about myself, I was born in Somalia, so I had the privilege of growing up in a world where I was not subject to racism, which normally is not the case for the Afro-Canadian who lives here, who was subject from birth to racism. So I had that privilege as a young kid. And then I moved to Canada when I was 17, 18. And I've been living in Canada since. I'm a human rights lawyer. I work for the federal government of Canada. And I'm also a co-founder with my friend Natisha and other UN fellow of the Global Black Collective Institute to ensure that we follow the work and the informations and the training we receive through the fellowship, the UN fellowship for people of African descent, and to continue the work. So briefly, I can say that the most important thing is I would like to share for those who are not aware of what's going on in Canada, that August 1st was the federal government recognized Emancipation Day. So technically, in 2021, Canada finally acknowledged that indirectly slavery exists in Canada. So as you all know, this is a new thing. It was advocated by our Black caucus at the Senate and at the Parliament of Canada, and finally was passed. So we are so happy finally is officially recognized by the federal government of Canada. For those of you who are not familiar with Canada, we basically have the same situation that people of African descent in the US suffer of, but with the polite racism that exists. But the result is always the same. Black people in Canada are facing the same problem African-American face in terms of police brutality, racial profiling, lack of employment. So we're basically the same issue. The only problem is our government, for the most part, will acknowledge all international instruments, but when it comes to application, it's missing in action, basically. So that's to give you an overview of how the situation is. So in terms of this amazing day. Our job is just at the beginning, because we have to make sure that we lobby, and I believe we have to lobby each government to officially recognize this day as an important day locally. So people of African descent in that specific country not only should promote this, but should ensure the federal government or whatever they are recognize this as an official day. And so that's, I will put, this is the only thing I would like to share with you, unless you have any specific questions. And thank you for the opportunity. And I really I saw your video, Dr. Walter, on YouTube long ago. So I was familiar with your work and especially your experience living in Cameroon. So it was fantastic to meet you today online.
Incrin, before I let you go, I mean, this is a very important point you bring up. Canada being one of the less than 10 or 12 countries who have officially recognized the decade, right?
Yes.
This is something that's also very important on this day for a lot of us around the world to begin to mobilize, to get our different governments, you know, around the world to officially recognize the decade. So, William, this is part of the mandate of MIPAD, is to get governments around the world to officially recognize the International Decade for People of African Descent. We have 3 more years to go. You know, and it's really scary. We had 10 years and it's already wrapping up. So whatever we can do, and that's why MIPAD is mobilizing people in politics, in business, in the media and culture, entertainment world, and also humanitarians, all these 4 corners of society to come together to get their various governments to officially recognize the decade, right? So this is definitely something, Incrin, that you brought up. I truly appreciate that. And as we begin to wrap up, just a few more minutes, I'm going to ask that you do type in any questions that you might have. And while I queue up a video, just to give you again a sense of, you know, who we are at MIPAD and why we do what we do. In 2015, the United Nations declared the International Decade for People of African Descent to be observed from the years 2015 to 2024, based on 3 pillars: recognition, justice, and development. Join the United Nations and the global community to recognize the contributions of people of African descent from all over the world. And every year, during the UN General Assembly, we bring our honorees to New York, give them global recognition, support them with leadership training to ensure they can make global impact in their various countries around the world. It is Recognition Week, and we're super excited to be a part of this year's activities, starting with the open reception and then the leadership training before the recognition ceremony. All right, thank you very much. Feel free to clap. That is just a preview of who we are at MIPAD. Everybody could hear that voice, the volume. Dr. Sheila, we're going to end today by, now that we've figured out how to do that, we're going to end with your video again. People of African descent from all over the world, familiar faces in unexpected places. But before we get to that, let's begin to wrap up. Those of you who are asking, you know, on the platform, I see some questions. Do follow us online or across social media at MIPAD 100. We started working with the United Nations to identify people of African descent all over the world in support of the UN International Decade, to get, you know, countries to begin their national plan, to begin to support and protect the civil liberties and the human rights of people of African descent in their countries around the world. Progress has been slow. Less than 15 countries officially at the highest levels of government have officially recognized the decade. Only about 3 or 4 African countries who have officially also recognized and supported the decade. The African Union has recognized the decade as well. The CIDO office, I remember, you know, going to Addis and connecting with CIDO. So CIDO, definitely thank you for your support of the decade. But really, I mean, this is something that we all have to be cognizant about. This is something we can all participate in, lobbying our different governments around the world to officially, you know, recognize our decade, this decade. So before I hand over, you know, for final thoughts, I'm going to go around for all our panelists just to share, you know, final thoughts from where you are around the world. Just your final thoughts on this day that we're celebrating, this remarkable day. A big thank you to the government of Costa Rica, to Our Excellency Epsy Campbell, also to Our Excellency from the African Union for joining us today, Dr. Walker, all our honorees from Jamaica, from Dubai, from Canada, from Addis Ababa. Thank you all. Even the Bolivian mission, thank you so much. So I'm going to begin that final final thought. Kiki Victoria, who's in charge of our social media platforms, thank you so much. She's based in London. Kiki, I just want you to, you know, what are your final thoughts to everyone who's on today in terms of following us on social media and where they need to go?
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I mean, today has been so inspiring, and thank you very much. I'm just like overwhelmed right now. But to get more information about MIPAD and what we do, please, I've posted the links. Follow us and connect with us. If you have any further questions, we will answer. As well as, I just wanted to say that our Recognition Week is coming up soon in October, and it's going to be exciting, and we can't wait for all of you to participate and tell everyone. Thank you very much.
Hey, all right. Thank you, Kiki. I think for Kiki, before we let Kiki go, everybody please who's on stage, Dr. Lulu, let's do a picture one more time. We'll greatly appreciate it. Videos on. You know, Natalia, always check. I love that. She's making sure. Jamaica, we're repping Jamaica, right? Dr. Lulu, videos on. Josepha, if you're with us, please, we'll appreciate that. William, we see you. Dr. Lulu, there you go. Vision forward. Dr. Lulu, remarkable work from New York. You're an educator. The work that you're doing is remarkable. Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to ask everybody, look in the camera and smile. Angela, let me get your smile. All right. Inkrin, we could see your smile there. Thank you so much. And there you go. Thank you so much. All right. So let's continue with final thoughts. Dr. Lulu, I want to hear from you from New York. Vision forward. What are your thoughts as we celebrate this remarkable day? Your mic is on mute, Dr. Lulu. Final thoughts from you? Okay, while we wait for her, I'm going to go to Dubai. So, William, well, what are your thoughts? Final thoughts to all people of African descent from around the world on this International Day.
Well, first of all, Camille, I want to thank you for making this happen. I think this is monumental. The fact that you've brought all of us together from around the world is phenomenal. Congratulations to the great work that you do, and we from this part of the world will continue to support you. I learned a lot today, and I feel like I met new family around the world. So thank you for including me in this, and would love to connect with every one of you. Thank you very much.
You know, William, what you just said now actually got someone hired. What you just said right now. I hired an intern who works with MIPAD because when she lives in Portugal, in Lisbon, and when we were having a conversation, she said, being African means that I'm part of a family. That was just a powerful meaning, because she lives in Lisbon, you know, mostly white country. Every time she sees a black person, she does the nod. You know, we don't even know each other, but you know the nod, right? We just acknowledge each other. And the way she explained that, you know, being African means that I'm always part of a family. And you just said that. You just said that. You just acknowledged that. So yes, the nod. I know. You know the nod. Kiki, you grew up in Germany. You know the nod, right? Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that, William. Dr. Lulu, are you ready to share your final thoughts, Vision Forward from New York?
Yes.
All right, let's go for it.
And I do apologize. I am at work. We have begun in-person work again in an office, so it was a bit sketchy. I couldn't turn on my camera for a while, and I couldn't unmute for a while. But I have to say that although we are not in the same room, the electricity that is flowing on this screen and into my body and my brain and my soul was just what I needed today to continue to fuel the work that I'm doing with Vision Forward. And I want to thank you, Camille. This is like amazing, amazing work. And all of the panelists, this is just, I want to meet everyone. I want to sit down and talk with everyone. Let's break bread together. Let's build together. So I am going to put my website for Vision Forward in the chat, but I'm looking forward to Recognition Week. I'm looking forward to big things. I wrote down everyone's names so that I could look everyone up. I can see what's going on. I could help out in any way I can, because really I think that this is truly, truly our time. I say this often since the pandemic, that for whatever reason, I have had like blinders on. And Camille, you know, I've been in and out of the UK. You know, I just came back on Sunday, actually. I've been in Africa, I've been in Jamaica, I've been, you know, all over the place during this pandemic, and I've built Vision Forward because this is really our time, and it's really our time to work with our youth and get them encouraged to see themselves as people of African descent. And therefore, there is another way other than assimilation to Western culture and to the oppression and the oppressive cycles that chain their minds to their system. So I'm just filled. And thank you.
I love that. I love that. I feel you all, absolutely. The energy is electrifying, and this is the not just a moment, but a movement, right? It's really a great time to be a person of African descent. You know, Black is the new cool. All right. So let's keep it moving from New York. Let's move final thoughts to Canada. Let's go. Final thoughts.
Am I the only
No, at least on the panel, at least up here.
Okay. I know we are a small country, but I was expecting other brothers and sisters actually in Canada. So one thing I'll say is it's time for us to really, I honestly think our next step will be for us to advocate to ensure that this day is recognized by our government. We are now is not a right time for Canada because we are in the middle of election. So I don't think anything will move, but maybe it's a great opportunity to advocate for this date. So that's our next step. And I'm so grateful. One thing I always say to my actually friend from the 2020 fellow, the best thing from that fellowship is to have met my friends, like friends, Black people from Asia Pacific to North America, Latin America, Europe, and the continent. So that's the best thing, to be quite honest, because we feel, especially up north, we feel really isolated. And we are, I won't say extremely, but we're a very small community. It's only 1 million Black who lives, approximately 1 million Black, and we are very extremely diverse community of indigenous Black, African immigrant, and Caribbean immigrants. So it's very diverse and small, but we are still a big community, and we are doing a great job in Canada because our government recognized the decade. So that's a few words, but I'm so grateful to have met many of you today. And William, I don't think I'll be in Dubai. I love Dubai, but hopefully one of those days, hopefully we'll meet in Dubai.
Absolutely. William is inviting us all. Absolutely. And during recognition week, William, we need to do it live from Dubai. We need to, because your group is going to be recognized this year. I'm super excited about that because you're doing such an amazing work. Your group is getting the Hall of Fame award recognition from MIPAD for the work that you're doing for our people. So well done. Keep it up. All right, let's keep it. Let's move to Addis. So from all the way from Canada, let's go to Addis Ababa. Let's take it to the continent. Angela, final thoughts.
It's been an amazing moment, actually, and I'm so happy that we've been able to be part of this historical event. And each and every one of us must congratulate ourselves for a good work done. MIPAD, it's been great. And it's been amazing. I have learned a lot. And my takeaway is actually to as well encourage through my report, member states to actually officially recognize the decade, because at the end of the day, I believe that most of them assume that since the AU has done it, it's enough. But it would be good as well for African Union member states to officially recognize the decade as well. So good job. And with Dubai, the African Union as well is having an expo in Dubai, and we are planning on a Diaspora week. On those fringes, it will be good to have a conversation with MIPAD as well, so that we see how best we could bring together the whole African family, either through virtual sessions or physically, for us to create something that is worth remembering. Thank you.
Are you coming? Are you coming to Dubai for the expo?
Yes.
Yes.
The AU has gotten pavilions.
Right. So remember, William, I shared in the Dubai group that the African Union was bringing together this youth group in Dubai. So it is their office that is responsible. So Angela, William, definitely need to connect. Angela, we need to add you into the MIPAD community. So I just sent you my my WhatsApp number, Angela. So pick it up. Right. So connect with us. I'll connect you with William and everyone else. All right. Let's take it from, can you imagine? We're taking it from Addis Ababa. Just think about this connection to Jamaica. To Jamaica. I mean, look at that connection from Addis Ababa, right? When you think of Haile Selassie, right? All the way to Jamaica.
Yeah,
so
Ethiopia, the land of our father.
Absolutely. You know, this is the beauty of what we do. So Nat, take it away.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. I mean, my roots is embedded in Rastafari. My mother and my grandfather, they're survivors of the Coral Garden Massacre. It's deep-rooted. I am here because I think it's ancestral work, and I do this proudly. And so my contribution always, and my echo and my sentiments to you is always going to be grounded in that fact. One Africa, one nation. And I don't see us as segmented. We are supposed to understand that there's unity in strength. And I see it coming together in our global Black collective, as Ikram said, because when we went into that fellowship, persons like myself from Jamaica, where people don't believe that we have in a predominantly Black population issues that has to do with our race, our shades and color and all those things. And when we homogenize our experiences, we fall short. So as fellows, what we did, and I implore you, and this is my parting message to say, what we did was to come together to say, we have common ground where we understand human rights and dignity. We understand the racism and the architecture around us. And we have to come together in our diverse places to put our resources, whether intellect and all that we come with to the table, and to make a difference. So on my platform for reparatory justice, which is my life's work at this moment, and I say life work, a very short life, but I implore you to get a cause, get something that is beneficial to our people and stay with it. That's the only way I believe that we're going to be really invested and embedded in what is declared today as the International Day for People of African Descent. One love, one heart, one destiny.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to show you off during Recognition Week. Get ready. We're partnering with CNN. It is going to be massive, and your voice must be heard. We're opening the ceremony in New York, just following the opening of UNGER, the UN General Assembly, with Her Excellency Epsy Campbell from Costa Rica, and also your class, the fellows. So I can't wait. That is going to be a remarkable opening ceremony. Now, before I do the final word from Dr. Walker, we are going to play that trailer one more time. And don't cry, Dr. Sheila. You get emotional every time I do this. So just stay with me. All right, just stay with me. Let's do it one more time. All right.
The African diaspora is global. People of African origin are all over the world, sometimes in unexpected places. Between 1500 and 1800, 6.5 million people came to the Americas. 5.5 million came from Africa as victims of the commerce in African lives called the transatlantic slave trade. So for the first 3 centuries of the modern Americas, most of the people who laid the foundations of the new societies were of African origin. Some were enslaved for their knowledge and skills, providing a transfer of technology from Africa to the Americas. In Ecuador, African descendants pan gold, from which they make beautiful creations, using technologies inherited from ancestors from the Gold Coast, now Ghana, enslaved for their expertise in gold mining. Africans brought with them the seeds and skills to grow rice that had been domesticated more than 3,000 years earlier in Mali. U.S. plantation owners asked slave ship captains to bring them rice negroes. Many enslaved Africans sought to regain their freedom, some by escaping to inaccessible places. In Suriname, they fled up rivers into the dense rainforest and established free Maroon communities. Maroon descendants in Colombia affirmed their heroic past and continue an African lifestyle. Jamaica's national heroine, freedom-seeking Maroon leader Queen Annie, is featured on a bill that people call a nanny. And in the United States, Harriet Tubman, who led African Americans from southern slavery to northern freedom, will be the first woman featured on U.S. currency. Some are already calling the bill a Tubman. Africans recreated their cultures in the Americas. Royal traditions from the Central African Congo Kingdom are still celebrated in Brazil and Panama. Also in Brazil, descendants of Yoruba people from Nigeria and Benin in West Africa celebrate their Orishas, spiritual beings whose choreographies represent forces of nature. More than 200 million people of African descent now live throughout the Americas, continuing traditions that reflect their African origins. But the African diaspora is not just in the Atlantic world. In Turkey, descendants of Africans enslaved across the Mediterranean Sea during the Ottoman Empire affirmed their identity as Afro-Turks. And across the globe, from the Atlantic world, it is in India that the African diaspora is most significant. Tens of thousands of Afro-Indians known as CIDOs, whose ancestors came from East Africa, have created rich cultural forms in several parts of the country. CIDOs built monumental constructions, such as the nationally landmarked fort on Janjira Island, from which they controlled maritime traffic on the Konkani coast for centuries. In Gujarat, CIDOs built a shrine for their African saint, the Abyssinian Baba Gor, who was also worshipped by other Indians. CIDOs celebrated when Barack Obama became president of the United States, some proudly characterizing him as an American CIDO. The African musical bow that CIDOs play for Baba Gor, called by the Bantu name Malunga, is the faraway twin of the Afro-Brazilian beating bow. Linked by common origins and cultural continuities, people of African descent scattered around the world now form a global community.
All right, I love that. Every time I see that cultural continuity, we form a global community. Final word from you, Dr. Sheila Walker.
Well, thank you very much. And there are a few people that I must cite. Joseph Kizerbo, historian from Burkina Faso. He said that Africa is like Osiris. It's been cut into pieces and scattered over the earth, and it's up to us to put it back together. And so Osiris was cut into pieces. Who put Osiris back together was Queen Isis. I see that as a metaphor for the diaspora, because the pieces of Osiris were scattered. She planted, essentially, each piece of Africa where she found it, and that's who we are, the African diaspora around the world. Nicolas Guillen, Afro-Cuban poet, said, "Sin conocernos nos reconoceremos." Without knowing each other, we will recognize each other. The nod. I think we are recognizing each other now without having known each other before today. My sense of my identity, I'm from New Jersey, but that's really small. After my travels in the global African diaspora, I see that my identity is I'm a citizen of the global African identity with a US passport as a result of a slave ship. And that's the nature of most of our identities, accidental, but that's okay. At the Americas Preparatory Conference in Chile for the UNESCO World Conference Against Racism, Romero Rodriguez, one of the major leaders from the southern cone of South America, after a meeting, he said, entramos como negros, salimos como afrodescendientes. We went in as Black people. We came out as Afro-descendants. We went in with all of our narrow national identities, Afro-North American, Afro-Canadian, Afro-Jamaican, all of those things that we are nationality-wise. We came out as Afro-descendants. We came out with a collective identity, and that term was used in Durban in the documents that the African descendants wrote. So here we are together manifesting a sense of a larger identity than all these little national identities that we have been divided into by others who didn't think it would be great if we were as together as we are getting ourselves now. So there are two elements that I emphasize that are emphasized in that little video, and I always talk about them. We need to consider, first of all, lies we were told about the enslavement of Africans in the world. We were told that we were an unskilled labor migration. Well, that just makes no sense, plus it's false. Okay, so we need to rethink the enslavement process and understand, first of all, that the demographics of the Americas are that Africans and African descendants were the majority during the majority of the history of the Americas. So who built the Americas? Africans brought their technology, their agriculture, their metallurgy, gold mining in the Americas is African. okay, after the genocide of the indigenous people. So we need to rethink what we've been told and understand that our story is very different. We do need to start with those empires in West Africa, Mali, Songhai, Ghana, and understand that, you know, that's where it started. It didn't just start on the shores of the Americas. And so the Chinese character for crisis apparently is composed of two other characters. One means danger, the other means opportunity. And so the danger, I guess, is the pandemic. The danger, of course, is the systematic racism that is a result of the essentially the European colonization of the Americas and Africa. And so now, essentially thanks to George Floyd and all of the uprisings that caused, all of the conscientization that caused on the parts of ourselves and our allies, this is our great opportunity to get back together like Joseph Kizerbo said we needed to do. And so thank you very much. MIPAD, thank you very much, Camille, for bringing us all together in this dangerous moment that is a great opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. All right. So I'm going to close in the last 3 to 5 minutes. We have Costa Rica here. Costa Rica's government is represented today by Pamela Castillo. And again, today is what it is because of the support of the Costa Rican government working closely with the United Nations under the leadership of Her Excellency Madam Vice President Epsy Campbell. So Pamela, I would love to hear from Costa Rica today. Today is such an important day in our history in terms of what else that you actually have planned. We had the ambassador from the African Union was also here with us. We heard from MIPADians around the world. It has truly been a remarkable day. So Pamela, it will be great to hear from you.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here with you and just have a such a special day that means so much of what the story has been and what the road for the future should be. And in this sense, well, I'm really glad that we partner with MIPAD for bringing the next Thursdays, September 2, a special dialogue between Vice President Epsy and Ms. Matai about climate change and how to address the challenges as opportunities in our economic recovery, talking about inclusivity and gender equality, long-term solutions for Africa and Latin America. So it would be great for you to join us, and Camille will send the information. And as well, I would like to invite you today to the official open ceremony that will be on UNFPA website, but Camille, could you help me to
Yes, it's all across our social media. The opening ceremony today in San Jose in Costa Rica. It's actually a big day. Actually, you're physically having an event. So thank you so much for all you're doing in Costa Rica. We've shared it on our social media. So please follow us and you can see links to view the event in Costa Rica. So thank you, Pamela. Final thoughts from you before you leave us.
Well, hope that it will be a special week that bring more energy to what the future should be looking, bringing people together, and when the powerful and the transformative change is done when we come together. So this is a huge, big step and for a beautiful future that is just in front of us. And so let's keep the MIPAD, you're doing a great job joining people. And so we will have more discussion, and I invite you to be part of the different forums that it will be announced on the social media all this week. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Gracias. Absolutely. All right, Josefa from the African Union Mission in Washington, D.C. I see your hands up. You want to take the final word?
Yes, Camille, thank you very much. I wouldn't be speaking after my boss has spoken, as my colleague said before, but I just wanted just to say congratulations to MIPAD for the great job that you're doing. As Dr. Sheila said, I met Camille and I became family with him. Why? Because the work that he does and the work that MIPAD does is on my heart every morning, because I'm raising young ones, descendants of the 200 years ago, coming to the United States, and myself coming from Rwanda and working for the African Union. All that just brings me to say this work of the people of African descent is manifold in as far as I'm concerned, and as far as my life is concerned. So the last point is that Her Excellency Ambassador Hilda Sukamafute talked about the inclusion and working together of the youth of African descent with the help of all of us who might be beyond that category of youth physically, but at heart we are. And my colleague Angela talked about it, talking about the summit in Dubai, which is gonna also bring together the youth department of the African Union, whereby here, the missionary in Washington, DC, we are collaborating with MIPAD to bring together the youth in very many discussions as we prepare for the summit. So when you see Camille knocking on your door, literally by the email or myself, know that we are calling upon you so that we can be part of the movement of the 1 million youth that the ambassador reiterated from His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamati, our chairperson. So please know that the African Union supports the work of the African people of African descent. And then also knowing that, you know, this platform should definitely be our agenda in addition to what we're doing. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
All right, God bless you all. Thank you so much. Just 3 minutes past our scheduled time. Not bad for Africans who got together. This is great. We're on time. I love it. All right, love you all and enjoy your day. Participate in all of the activities throughout this week. Let us spend some time to reflect about our contributions to societies around the world. And again, what we do at MIPAD is, you know, for a moment, you know, see ourselves outside, you know, being victims of a system of oppression, but begin to celebrate and recognize ourselves based on our great contribution to the world. So, Black excellence worldwide, let us continue to connect. And there is power in connection. Okay, power is better when it's concentrated. So let us continue to be connected. So #connectology. Love you all. I'll see you soon. Recognition Week, October 1st. 2/4 in New York. We're going to be broadcasting from New York, from the One UN Plaza to the world, and it is going to be a great gathering. One global family, 4 days, our collective future. I love it. Thank you all. Addis Ababa, Jamaica, Dubai, Toronto, Canada, DC, Lagos. Love you all. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, have a great day. All right, cheers.